3 days before that, I got an idea of how to arrange the song. So we changed the whole mix.
Really?
They are the client. They have to come back to me again. So there are songs of Chamkila, and we know everybody knows the story. So what are we going to do that?
Yes.
And those classics, and you can't touch those. So even if I at least have to try, I can fail. If I don't try, it'll be disgusting for myself to face myself. So.
It's a busy time for Mr. Rahman, and he's in my city, and I'm so grateful that he's given us time at Fever FM. Thank you so much for joining me, sir.
Welcome.
This is the first time we're actually doing this in person. The last time we spoke, it was on Zoom, if you remember.
Yeah.
It was 25 years of Rangila, and there's a piano there, but it's an outlier because you're not going to play any piano for me.
Yes, not today.
I'm sad about that.
Be very cheerful.
Sorry?
We're doing Chamkila and Maidaan.
That's true.
Both very peppy films.
It's a busy time for you.
Yes.
In terms of promotions or, the work as well?
No, I think I'm kind of relieved because these movies are important movies and they're coming, and all coming at the same time. But
yeah, absolutely. I have to start off this interview saying that it's a treat for a Rahman fan, right? Because here we have 2 soundtracks from you coming in. This is, of course, when I'm talking about Indian film, Bollywood film music.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there is... Yes,
yeah.
And everyone's very excited about that because it's a return for you to Malayalam cinema.
Mm-hmm.
So how does that make you feel?
It feels really good because it's an important movie where it's sold 250 editions. The book has sold. And all of us are looking at hope. We're all looking at something to cling on. We're all looking at inspiration, and that's an inspiring story.
Absolutely.
Same as Maidaan.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Though Chamkila starts with both of them get killed. So.
I was wanting to ask you that before you start a film, I get the sense that there is one word that you perhaps, as you said, inspiration, get as the sar or the essence of the film, and then you try and create soundtracks around it. What were those words for you with Chamkila and with Maidaan?
See, sometimes when you work with the director, with the team, we extract certain energy, and we try to find what's that intriguing, the sense of discovery.
Yeah.
The discovery is always towards how do you make this film sustain for the audience? How do you engage them? How do you engage us, first of all? We're not doing a job, we're enjoying the passion of a life, which is the filmmaking art or music making and all that stuff. So I think sometimes we come up with ideas which are better than what came, and also crave for that or strive for that idea which could make something better.
Absolutely.
So it doesn't stop even till the release date.
Really?
It keeps going, yeah. The song was mixed and the master was given. And they said we have this time slot for it to release, and 3 days before that I got an idea of how to arrange the song. So we changed the whole mix.
Really?
And that's the whole, Main Hu Punjab, the
Yes.
whole strains of guitars.
And that's where it happened. That's where it came in. I spoke to Imtiaz and we did a music interview.
Okay.
And it was so fun because, most of his music is with you. Mm-hmm. And that was lovely. And he told me how they're fanboys. And I told him, so what's the relationship? And I said, are you in a position to ever approve, a track? And then he said, you know what? He actually gives me that. He gave me that in my first ever film. He said, you have to tell me whether you like it or not. And I think that's, it's a grace, that you are easy to give people. Do you do that often? Do you put them in a position of power? Do you empower them?
They are the client. They have to come back to me again. If I act tough, and they say like, he's too big, and
Correct.
You have to be friendly. And even with art, it's the same thing.
That's true.
Yeah. What are we creating? We're creating something so that people can escape their mundane lives, their hardships, and they can relive, the character, or go back to the childhood, in a fun song, and feel lighter.
Yes.
Yeah. For that, I need to be lighter. Yeah.
That's
so
true.
I'm the mirror.
That's so true.
Yeah, exactly. So constantly we are in the lighter mode. We are having fun. If you're not having fun, something's wrong.
I completely agree with you. We have to have fun. I remember asking Imtiaz a very interesting question. I said, there already exists the music of Chamkila, as Amar Singh Chamkila's music himself. And that's so famous and that people still sing it. And here you are, you're giving it a completely new soundtrack, right?
Yeah.
So I asked him this, I put him in the spot and I said, was that a gutsy move? Saying that we'll give you like 2 soundtracks. And he said, it was very important for us to interpret this man's character in our own way. How did you see that? Did you see that as a challenge when their music already exists?
No, actually, he first comes for this story, which I heard 8 years back, and I was doing research. And that time, I think somebody said, why can't you produce it and do some stuff and all this stuff? It never happened. And then when this came, and I said, oh, great, full circle. It's come back to you. So there are songs of Chamkila, and everybody knows the story. So what are we going to do that?
Yes.
In it,
what
right?
can you bring to it? Yes.
Exactly. So then we thought of, why can't we interpret? Why can't we take a Broadway kind of a route where, in a Punjabi kind of a vibe, where everybody sings about Chamkila, and that'll be exciting because it's like comments you see on YouTube, no?
Yes.
You see a poster of an actor. Some people adore them. Some people curse them. Some people saying funny things. Some people, all of them won't get noticed.
Yes.
And the comments. So imagine that in a song.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So exactly. Oh, he's very good. He's amazing. Oh, he's a bad guy. And so that makes a interesting lyrical content.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. And of course, the idea of collaborators is always exciting because this is a team that's very familiar. There is Irshad, there is Imtiaz, the boys as they say, and there's Mohit, with Ishq Mitai. Do you find that a fun team to work with every time?
It is, because I think it's important that everybody have their own identity. That when I'm working with the Mani Ratnam, identity is different. When I work with Shankar, it's different. With Rakesh Ma, it's different. When I work with Imtiaz, it's different because it's very deep-rooted North Indian, but also vagabond, going further from mundaneness.
Yes.
He loves to explore. And sometimes you have to say, wait. Let's do something which people can relate to. Let's not go too dark. So as a team, I think we kind of nudge each other.
No, there was a question in my mind and then you just answered it because I was noticing how you're giving me Punjabi tunes, perhaps even better than Punjabi tunes that I've heard before. And it's great because the sound of Punjab has come to me in Mumbai from the movies because I don't live there. And I think that, are you enjoying that as well as a process?
I love the vibe of Punjab. It coming from Qawwalis of Nusrat Fateh Khan Sahab, Abida Parveen, and then also Gurdas Maan, and in the whole range of Punjabi music is not just Bhangra. And we need to understand that. And there's much more to that place, much more potency to what lyrics could, they have saints like Baba Bule Shah and Waris Shah. And so I've seen all those. Sometimes you just explore something, you go deeper and research and find all this stuff. And in this case, because we're taking a cinematic license of what interpretation, like nobody sets a rule.
Yes.
This is how a Punjabi musical should be. It doesn't have to have on same beat and same kind of singing. So, like what happened with Rang De Basanti, with Dalir Mehndi. It follows Punjabi rules, but it breaks it and keeps going. So it's fun to induce some of the tricks I've learned in Broadway or in London West End and bring that back in a flavor which is very friendly to the Punjabi audience, or Indian audiences, so that they will get to hear something else.
Yeah, and I remember how much fun you used to have, casting for your music, right? I think music casting is such a joy. I remember you told me when I asked you, I said it was so counterintuitive to lay people to have the voice of Asha ji for a very young Millie in Rangila. And you told me that आवाज की कोई उम्र नहीं होती. There's no age for voice. And then I remember Shweta Shetty appeared on an album. And then I remember Dalir Paji appeared. Is that something that comes to you because of the track, or do you want to work with them? That's why.
I think life is constantly evolving. So if we bottle it up in one place, it becomes stale. So we need to find who are the next, generation. In fact, and this is the place where we got around 12 to around 6 to 7 singers, female singers for Dengad. And we're experimenting with just sounds.
Yes.
And some of them is kept there, the tempo, that is from that.
The bolia, no?
Yeah. And then one of the ladies came up with a joke and we put that joke in. Like all that stuff is you can never create it, you can fabricate it. It has to come naturally. So all that stuff is kept. That's why I think even the way he shot it, they're wearing dirty clothes. They're just like being themselves.
Yes.
It's not like posh. It took a while for me to get used to it, and then now I love it now.
The chaos
the way is filmed it.
Of course. I think that the soundtrack of Chamkila, especially because we've been privy, we've been listening to all of the songs, leaves you with a sense of an immense love and pride for that culture, for that land. Did you feel the same after you created the soundtrack? Or another question could be, after you create a soundtrack, does it always leave you in a better place?
My question is, there are certain classics in every culture. And those classics, and you can't touch those. If you take Damada Mast Kalandar, and you look at the composition and the complexity of it and the construct of it, it's genius. But that guy who composed it died of poverty, death. The irony of that is that. And so, am I matching up to what's the bar set by people, like a great composition? Sometimes, in Rajasthani also, when you hear some of the compositions, it's incredibly great. It's potent, it makes your hair rise. And so it puts a tough competition, like you're constantly comparing, like, it's not good enough, it's not good enough, it's not good enough. So ultimately where it's okay, you let it go. Before that, otherwise I constantly say, like, no, it's not good enough. We have to do something else, But there is a bar set, and it'll be humiliating if tomorrow, if it becomes a hit and I feel like there is a better composition out there. And
never thought of that.
So even if I at least have to try, I can fail. If I don't try, it'll be disgusting for myself, to face myself. So in this case, when you take Punjabi music, there is a certain vibe which is fantastic, and I had to match up to that vibe. And I'm a learner, so.
That's amazing. Yeah, thank you for that. I've always been curious if you have a certain process when it comes to do the words inspire you, or does the tune come first? And I know with you it's a mix of both, but could you give us an example perhaps from the soundtrack of Chamkila?
So in this, I have certain words in my mind, right? Like Ishq Mitaya came from like a temp. I just sang that as a temp, and Imtiaz liked it, Ishad liked it, and they just enhanced the whole thing. Then Baja, same thing, it's a temp word.
Yes.
And all the introductions, like where, but before Baja, that introduction is actually from the words. I got the words composed to the words. Before Ishq Mitaya, that whole Saki came as a jam, the vocal phonetic jam which I gave and he wrote it. And then it goes to that stuff. Just me imagining that this is how Punjabi is.
Well, they always say that the best photographs are taken by strangers.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the stranger.
You're the stranger, exactly.
Yeah.
But
what legitimizes it is once you write lyrics to it, and when a singer comes and sings it, it's like it's made like that.
Yes.
And then you sometimes iterations happen where you feel like it can be stretched a little bit. So yeah. But without that, it becomes you're afraid of something, you become everything becomes very contrived and mundane.
Of course.
Oh,
yes.
this is how it should be done, and it's boring.
Yes.
So
I mean, first you know the rules and then you break them.
yeah,
One of my favorite things I did in the last interview with Imtiaz, I told him, I'll go, you go. I'll pick my favorite song from the soundtrack and then you tell me yours. I lost at that game because my first soundtrack that I picked was Rockstar, and I said, Sheher Mein. He laughed so hard because he said, how can you pick that song?
because we made that to be a cheesy song.
Exactly. And I said, that's the genius
How
of that song,
cheesy
right?
can you make
like,
it?
how do you make Rahman sir give you a bad song, right? And I said,
Not
"Have
a
you
bad
done that?"
song, like something
No,
which is-
that was his brief. He said कि हमको एक ऐसा गाना बनाना है जो एकदम typical UP बिहार में hit हो जाए, right? And we are making fun of ourselves.
And this was 3 months in the charts in Dubai, I believe.
Yes, but it's my favorite song.
Yeah.
Because I just think that in that song,
Because you want to loosen up.
you want to loosen
Yeah.
up, and also you first see the glimpses of Jordan come through that song.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think only Indian film music does that for you, where it tells you so much about a person's character through the music. So he laughed a lot. Then he told me how you guys went about it. Is there anything you remember from that song?
This is it actually. It's another movie very similar. When I was worked with Abbas Tyrwala on Jaane To Jaane Na, is that I need a very cheesy tune where it's very mushy and it's very cringy. So we came up with Kahito. Kahito. It became the most beautiful.
I love that song.
We wanted to make it very
Correct.
cliche, mushy, romantic tune, but it became beautiful.
It's so beautiful. Yes.
Inevitably and
Yes,
fortunately,
yes.
unfortunately.
And
So-
then he told me, I said, now you pick. You tell me what is your favorite song. And he said, I'll be honest with you, every song that you name, I have heard or seen live Rahman sir's version of it. Singing it or performing it first. And he said, that is my favorite version of that song and will always be. So here's my question to you. Sometimes you let us into that because you give us a pataka goodie with your voice. How do you choose that this is a song that is going to be in your voice?
No, I try to dodge the
Yes.
request for like 15, 20 times. And sometimes they don't even ask me and I just say, I want to sing this. Oh yeah, sure. Like Luka Chappi was composed to do a duet with Ladaji, so that was well planned. Some of the stuff I just want to opt out because you are in a leadership thing where you can't afford to take advantage of
Your position.
Yeah, position. So you have to be super careful about, am I doing the right thing?
Is
Are
this a
they-
vanity project?
Yeah, because
Of course.
the same people who ask for it sometimes will go back and say, oh, I don't know why he sang it. I only said I made the mistake. So I have to make sure that the request is genuine, and I feel like if somebody else can do it better, I
Let
would
them.
definitely pick that person.
Let them.
And if I feel like maybe this is what it is, and then yeah.
I recently read two things that you said, and I'm standing in the middle of two of your observations. I'm wondering which one do I look at. One is where you talked about how AI is the future and, almost defended the right for people to make music on AI. And you've always been that person who has used technology to make our lives better. And on the other hand, we also have the Chamkila coming, where there's live singing, where we've not given that up.
Yeah.
Do you see yourself standing in the middle of these two?
You can't dodge progress, right? We couldn't dodge people making CDs and putting out MP3s into Napster. And there was a solution after that. We thought the whole music game was ended, but it's reinvented itself. The streaming, and there's royalty, there is performance, there's so many other things. People literally, we thought that music has ended. That's it. Because anything you put on CD was MP3'd.
Yes.
And now people are listening to it free, but we're all getting paid still.
Yes.
So how did that reinvent in this 20 years? How did that change? If you look at that time, it looked like the doomsday of musicians.
Absolutely. Yes.
It's not.
Yeah.
We found a way. So similar with AI, I think there are ways to enrich, enhance, and nurture things which people who didn't have access to education or the quality technology and all this stuff. I wish this is used for speeding up that process to bring our own people up to speed. And imagine giving it to a kid to design a city imagine giving to a kid to find better way of governance, to eradicate poverty or climate change or speeding up the process of bureaucracy, which you all suffer. I feel like that should be used. I think it's in the employer. The employer is evil. Then he's going to get bad karma by firing out, people and people losing jobs, and that's not a good thing. But if he's smart, he's going to give all the tools to his people to become 10x or 100x better, and bring out the best in his company. So I feel like it's like the holy book, and a bad person is going to be bad. Holy book with a good person is going to use the best of that. So same thing.
Absolutely. I want to go to Maidaan because there is a song that I just heard, and it took me back in time, and at the same time it has a rap element, and that's Ranga Ranga. What a fun song. How did you navigate the old and the new again?
The time period of that movie was 60, and I felt like, why can't we bring something of Andhra Pradesh, and that vibe. There was no rap that time, so we had to find these three elements, the nostalgia, the state from where the player comes, or where he comes from, Rahim Saab. And so mixed all these three and said, what will be a song which won't be like a sports movie song, but it'll be super exciting and lift the movie up. So that was the whole brief.
I think even here there's Vaishali Samant.
Yes, I love her voice.
Yeah. And for us, of course, we're the Aika Dajiba guys, right? So it's fun for us to listen to these voices. I think, do you want to take a minute and talk about the voice casting for this album specifically?
Yes. Vaishali, because she sang for Tal and Satya.
Just a second. In the 25 years of Tal, are we doing a reunion with you for that or what?
Yes, I think the other two voices also. Shoma, I don't know, I can't find them. I keep asking where they are. Who sang the Legacies.
Yes.
So Vaishali, so I called her and said, I want you to sing. And she came in and sang. And then I felt like the voice is still intact. And she added that zing to the whole thing.
Yes.
And that is that song.
Yes. Then there's Richa Sharma.
Richa ji, was introduced to me by Sukhwinder Singh. He was doing Tal, and then he said, I want you to listen to the singer, and he brought Richa Sharma. And Nima Samajika, he was done that, right? Then I remembered her because I wanted somebody like a cross between Momina Muttasin and Reshma.
Yeah, Reshma ji, of course.
Yeah. So then we said, perfect is Richa ji, and she comes in, nails it.
Completely.
And yeah, the thing is, it's a very controlled kind of singing. And yeah, I remember.
It's so important to me.
And of course, Javed Ali.
Javed Ali
comes in, and he's got a way to, after Tum Tak and Kun Faya Kun, and his voice is iconic. I mean, he gels very beautifully. And Manoj Muntasan. This whole thing, this is the second song I think we did. And when we work with somebody new, I mean, for me, for the first time Manoj was doing, and the sense of enthusiasm in his face, and because I've seen some of his poetry recital in colleges, and it was very interesting. I said, let's work with this guy. So we called him, and he was very nice to work with.
Yeah. I have a special place in my heart where I call them, songs sung by women. They're really important to me because they are the voice of, women like me.
Yeah.
We need songs, we need movies, we need scripts about us and about our generation. And I think that every time you give me a Richa Sharma solo, it makes my heart sing. Every time you give me an Alka ji, it makes my heart sing. Every time you give me an Asha ji. Do you think that there is a disparity sometimes, between just the male song and the female song? Or do you look at songs like that at all? I could be completely wrong.
I think Alka ji is an icon. I think she has the most amazing voice. I think underused the past 20 years, I would say.
Absolutely.
And I felt this the right, for the younger, I think that was the right voice. And of course, Imtiaz said, yes, whatever you say. and it also had very, very difficult singing. And she was very sportive. And she came and did,
Nailed it.
Yeah.
With Maidaan, and I go back to Maidaan, I'm going to go back to my first question. What is the sort of word that you're left with after that soundtrack, or did you start with one of those inspirations or words? Dil Nahi Todenge is too big a promise.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I listened to that track and it made me feel pressure.
Yeah, I think there's some kind of palette of lyrics which come on a sports movie. I'm going to break the mountain, I'm going to climb, cross the seas for you. I said, it's all been done. What else can we do? Is a humble promise by anybody, a son going abroad for his job, to the parents saying that I won't break your heart, don't worry, right? So this came like, we were jamming, we were actually taking a tour, Amit, and we were going on a van in Chennai. I just thought we'll just go out instead of sitting in the studio. And this suddenly appeared, okay, let's do a song like this. And just with the iPhone, I was just singing, and then Dil Nahi Todenge. It came in like and so very spontaneously, just one time what hummed on the thing, that was taken as a tune and completed, and yeah.
Yeah, I love that lyric.
Yeah, because otherwise for me, a sports movie, I've done it all. I've done Beagle, I've done Pele, I've done Lagan, and unless there is something new in it, I feel like somebody asked me like, how's work? I said, I don't work.
And then there's the other song, which is, I think, going to be the complete, sort of, it's going to be played at every stadium. There is patriotism and there's jingoism.
Yeah.
Do you have that line in your head when you're making a song like that?
In this case, the director had a very definitive idea about what the song should be. And I had done 3 iterations, only this song. 3 iterations, 4 happened, 5 happened. And I just one day I took him like, what do you need? I said, I want to feel like we are coming for you. Okay. Then I don't want to fit in your parameter of how the song should be. I will just do it my way and show it to you. Whatever you do, just give me that song. And then I gave the song. And he called up and said, you got it, sir. Then finally, he left me in peace.
I'll never forget that he said he's my client, he has to come back. This is amazing. I do want to, of course, ask you about the sense of responsibility that you hold as an artist, because it's so important.
Yeah.
What is your sense of artistic responsibility when you're making music? And because music has had the power more than cinema, because it's easier to make, perhaps. You can compose. You can compose a tune.
Sometimes it's
and
easy.
you can go as a band and you can play it and you can start a revolution.
Yeah.
You probably don't need the collaborators of the scale of a film.
Well.
So hence, therefore, what is the artistic responsibility that you feel at this point?
I saw one reel of Michael Jackson saying that I want to use songs because words are like mantras, you're saying. Yes. Imagine what a visionary.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I feel. Words are like, why are we saying any japam they say, or zikr they say? Why are we repeating it? God is merciful, God is merciful, God is merciful. It's not God is merciful. You have to become merciful. It is actually, you become that. And similarly, the song is that. It's being played again and again. Subliminally, what is it doing to the society? Is it forcing them to elevate, or is it making them dark and go to the wrong route? Is a question which we have to ask. And that is a responsibility I always take. Sometimes for fun you do, and you know that it's a fun song. But I feel like each word is a mantra. There is a song, very famous song in Tamil, of T. Rajendra, and there's a big story about it. T.M. Soundarajan, who was a phenomenal legend, he was made to sing a song called Naan Oru Rasi Illa. That means I'm an unlucky king.
Yes.
And he said, I don't want to sing. And so the director, I believe, said, no, please sing it, it's fine, just a movie. And that was his last song. And that's it. His era completed in that one. So it became fatal. It became prophetic.
Oof.
So I'm very, very particular about words. Yeah.
There's a lot of music coming your way, guys, and this is going to be a fun couple of months of listening for us. So I'm very glad that we made time to talk today.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being on my
Welcome.
show again. Means a lot
Thank
to
you.
me, sir.